Hello, I'm Rian Reyes.
And I'm Ricky Macias.
And for now, we are
Un
Poquito.
Poquito.
Podcast. This Sunday. Whew. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, leave a comment. As Dominic says, comments make you sexy. But I say you are already sexy, but it'll make you sexier. You know what I'm saying? If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, make sure to follow us there. Leave a like, rate and review us. 5 stars, please. If you're looking to support us, we have a Discord. We have a Patreon. The Discord is free to join, and it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of different groups, a lot of different communities. Come and hang out with us. If you'd like to follow us on Patreon, we have a lot of great tiers. Starting at $2, you get access to early content. If you'd like to follow us on Patreon, we have tiers starting at $2 a month. You get early access to bonus content, ad-free episodes, Patreon exclusive episodes. We're going to do live streams in the future. It's a lot of great stuff, so be sure to check it out. And if you'd like to follow us, you can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, here on YouTube, Twitter, at Un Poquito Pod on all platforms. And be sure to reach us. Make sure to leave us an email if you ever want to get in contact with us at Un Poquito Pod. I haven't done this in 2 weeks. Be sure to follow us on our other pages at Un Poquito Pod on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Be sure to follow us on our other pages at Un Poquito Pod on at Un Poquito Pod. You can also contact us through our email, unpoquitopod@gmail.com. I read all the emails. Dominic reads some of them, and maybe even Ricky will read a couple, just for fun. Un Poquito, exploring Latin culture, little by little. Yeah. Un Poquito, exploring Latin culture, little by little. I haven't done this in so long. How are you doing today, Ricky?
Pretty good. And how about you?
Having a bit of a breakdown right now.
Yeah.
Until today, I was doing great. No, but we took a bit of a hiatus.
We did.
For the holidays. How was your Christmas? Good?
It was pretty fun. It was pretty chill. Well, chill enough that we slammed a lot of people in one home.
Oh,
you know, like a lot of people, like several families, 2 children, and like 7 dogs.
Yeah, that was always the thing when I was little. Just a bunch of cousins on both sides. Like either we'd visit my mom's family, which is here in the same state as me, or when I was little, or when we go to my dad's house, we'd always have to figure out whose house we're staying at, because his parents are like the grandparents that they'll take anybody in anyway, and so their house is always like packed full of people. And so just like once in a while, like I remember one time we had to stay with our cousin Stevie, which was cool. I got to go on a ranch for the first time. They hadn't bought horses yet, so it was just an empty farm.
Interesting. Almost creepy.
No, I think they had. They were just like, we showed up at nighttime, we left in the morning. So I never got to see the farm.
Just like Jesus, huh?
But it's still fun. They had bought one of those, it's meant for kids like 7 to 12, those like in-home air hockey tables, but it's the one made entirely of plastic. You have to turn the little fan on. That was fun.
I like those.
Did you get anything cool for Christmas?
I got a charcuterie board.
Damn.
Yeah, it's cute. Got those little like charcuterie knives, sticks and stuff.
So aggressive. Fucking get in there, you grape.
And I got a charcuterie board, got a Keurig, and got a water bottle. Like not like just a plastic bottle of water. It's gonna be like like a hydro flask or whatever it's called.
Like whenever they can't give you an extra gift, so they're like, use your imagination. Here's some markers.
Here's a water bottle. Yeah, some tape and some toilet paper rolls. Make your own doll.
No, real quick, because I've heard this word a lot, but I still have no idea what it is. What's a Keurig?
Keurig is like those, like those prepackaged cups that you just stick in a coffee machine thingy.
Right.
For like a single cup of coffee.
To remember that. I don't know why.
Yeah, I got that. It's pretty cool, but I think you're supposed to recycle the puck things, the cups, and I have to figure out how to recycle them.
They have reusable ones.
Yeah.
That you can just get.
I have those too. I have those too, so I'm going to switch to those because my girlfriend bought me the Keurig and the reusable ones. So I'm gonna get that McDonald's roast coffee from Target or whatever. Not to be looking for advertisers this way.
I don't remember why this reminded me, but I used to work at this sort of. It was like a mini warehouse. It wasn't like a full building.
Mm-hmm.
We like rented out the floor of a building. But one of my duties was to maintain the break room.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to be in charge of cleaning up all the coffee shit.
Yeah.
It would get boring because it was just like, it is still technically a warehouse job. So people run through coffee a lot.
Oh yeah.
And so it was like a lot to pick up and it was tedious. It would take up like a full half hour of my day.
Oh, I bet.
So I started having fun with it. Like I started turning the creamers because they're always folded out into flowers. And then I would put them on the
Cool.
stirrers as a stem.
Yeah.
And then they'd throw that away. But yeah, a lot of that job was filling time after a while.
Nice. You know you're bored when you start making art at a coffee shit. Coffee stuff.
Coffee shits are the worst.
Kill that too. But necessary for me to start my day. That's how I make sense of the world.
That's a funny response to like those people that are like, "Don't talk to me till I've had my coffee." It's like,
Yeah.
maybe you're just full of shit, Greg.
Yeah, maybe that's why you need it. So that's it. What did you get? Anything for Christmas? Anything fun?
So getting gifts from me can be a little bit complicated because I either ask for something practical that I can use in my everyday, or I ask for a lot of obscure nerdy shit. Like one thing that's been on my list since I was 12 years old is a lightsaber.
Oh shit.
But not a fucking 3-pronged like cone that comes out of a, not a $12 one and not that light up shit that breaks as soon as you hit something. I'm talking about like polyurethane, like battle grade. You can smack people and it won't break. Not that I'm going to smack people, but like a usable lightsaber.
Yeah.
Like a $150 to $300 lightsaber. And no one's been brave enough to get it for me yet, but it's still on that list.
I know someone with like 4 of those in his room. I could break into his place and take one for you.
I'll break in.
Yeah.
I'm a lot sneakier than you realize because I'm like so large that I don't register as a person sometimes. So people just forget I'm there.
I get it. It's like an entity.
That's actually used to be, that was like one of the first jokes I wrote about being fat was like, I'd ask the audience, like, is there any fat guys here? And like one guy would be like, woo. It's like, is anyone else here like so fat that people say, excuse me, just because you're like next to the door? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
The door's here and I'm here, but they'll still like back up against the wall. Like, excuse me.
Yeah. Like my instinct is to always be polite when someone like walks by your chair.
Right.
But anytime it's a big person, I'm like,
stop, dude.
How rude is this?
Right?
Because I'll do it even if I never had to with anybody. But anytime it's a big person, I'm just like, I should have stayed put, huh? Like I start altering my behavior.
It's such a weird experience.
Yeah. Like I don't want to. Anyway.
But yeah. So the reason I bring all that up is because I got cologne, I got clothes, new socks, new shoes, and a new laptop, which are great gifts. I needed and I'm going to use and have been using all of them. But I also got a fox beanie with the cape on it.
Okay.
And DIY mochi kits. Have you heard of these?
Oh, wow.
They're sold by like Kawaii Candies. There's a few different companies that make them.
You have to beat up your own rice?
No. So it's dehydrated mochi powder that you add to water.
Oh, okay.
And you're not necessarily... You remember that Harry Potter like at-home gummy bear kit thing? It's like that, just less gross.
Okay.
And they're fun. There's a few different ones. There was this one that was literally just like a tree prong that you had to put together yourself. And you'd set up 2 packets. One of them was full of this crystallized like gummy candy. It was like gelatin when you dipped it, but then the other one was a gloss. So as you dip it into the second one, it smooths and hardens the candy and makes it grow. So you'd keep doing that until the tree became a vine full of grapes.
Wow.
And that's one of them. There's a few different ones. The one I got was, I got 2. One of them was a sushi kit.
That's
so
cool.
I was able to make 3 different rolls. They were a little weird tasting because you have to find flavors that match the aesthetic that aren't too. The other thing that's weird, and this freaked out my little brother, is they're as accurate as they possibly can be with the textures. So like one of the candies came out more gummy so that it would feel like fish.
Yeah.
The other
Ooh.
was meant to not use as much water, and it had I feel like a lot of some kind of starch agent in it, because once it was made and I broke it up and rolled it back into a ball, it felt like rice.
Damn.
Like a roll of sushi. Not 100%, but it was like as accurate as a candy can be.
Interesting.
It's like 10 times better than those like gummy
Burgers.
pizzas and burgers that you
Yeah.
find. That's the other thing, is the second kit was a burger. It was a Happy Meal.
Mm-hmm.
So I made a tiny burger and tiny fries, and they put in, you mix this powder with water and it became jelly, and it was strawberry flavored, but it was ketchup, and it came with the small little packet of like citric acid and cola flavoring. So it didn't taste exactly like Coke, but I poured it in water and stirred it, and it was a carbonated soda.
The hell?
Yeah, this is a candy. This is why I find them fascinating. They sound so childish and dumb to see, like, I want this for Christmas as a 27-year-old, but they're so much fun to put together. Like, you start it, and it's like, the fuck, why does this feel like
Hey.
a French fry?
Who said kids don't want to work, huh?
Right? Look at Play-Doh. This is Play-Doh, but you get to eat it afterward.
Play-Doh Play Factory.
I
They
always
literally
love,
just make it as work with machinery.
I always love that Play-Doh's slogan is fun to play with, not to eat. And it's like, well, if you don't want them to eat it,
Stop talking about
making
it.
the toys about food.
It's so true.
Like, you're not supposed to eat this colorful pizza or this colorful spaghetti or this color. Maybe like make it poop or something. I don't know. Like, don't make it poop, but
Yeah.
stop making it look like food.
Yeah, like, also, the brown one tasted the best. I remember in kindergarten, I remember seeing kids, like, eat Play-Doh. I'm like, that's just fucking gross. Oh,
You know?
whoops.
Oh no, finish your story.
Yeah, like, that's gross. And then, because, I was trying, like, blue and yellow, and it's just, like, not that good. But brown, I don't know why, but brown was the saltiest. And I needed some salt in my life as a child. So I would eat brown, a little bit of brown Play-Doh.
It was also salty.
Yes.
I think that's what it meant by it's not fun to eat.
Well, you
It's
can't
not bad
you
for
can't
you.
say that to Mexican kids. Like, that's our.
I mean, it's
That's
pretty
our
fun when I
candy.
eat it. But I found out why blue tastes so weird, which is a weird fact to know about. But
Yeah, that's
a lot
interesting.
of blue dye is made from rusted metal.
Ah, interesting.
So there you go.
Oh.
Or not like rust, like they don't specifically rust, but like the metal, the chemical composite
Kids
of rusted metal.
Lockjaw and shit.
Let me get this cough out. Oh my gosh.
You all good?
Yeah. My throat's fucked up. I hate the winter so much. I used to love rain, and like ever since I became an adult, every winter, even if I don't get like sick, I get like a throat thing.
Yeah, I get all messed up.
No.
Yeah, I like cold weather. I don't like cold weather. I like the vibe. I'm just all about the vibe of winter. I hate being cold. I hate being hot. I can't tolerate any extremes. But I love this vibe, and I weirdly get happier. Like, people get like seasonal affective disorder in the winter,
Right.
and that's pretty typical for people. But I get like happier for some reason in this weather. But in the summer, that's when I get a real sad boy. I don't know why everybody's like hot body summer and just working out and going to the beach. I'm just like, now I'm sad. I don't know why. It's weird.
Because it's uncomfortable. I don't like the summer. I don't like the winter that much either, but summer's a pain in the ass.
It really is.
I feel like it's only fun when you have like access to like ways to deal with it.
Yeah, like AC
Right.
or a pool or shade in your backyard.
But going back to, so we've talked about before in the previous episodes our personal traditions,
Mm-hmm.
but I wanted to do an episode today about something I tried to do as much research as I could on, which was it started with Dia de los Reyes.
Dia de los Reyes. Yeah, Dia de los Reyes.
I feel like in Spain it's still called Dia de los Tres Reyes, which
Yeah.
is Day of the Three Kings, but in Mexico I believe it's just called King's Day
Mm-hmm.
or Day of the King.
Yeah. I forget
And
exactly.
so in America and in like England, I believe it's observed as Three Kings Day. For people that don't know, it stems from Catholicism. It was introduced to Mexico by Spain, of course. And it is part of the tradition that I didn't realize was an actual thing outside of the fucking song. The 12 days of Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And
I didn't know it was related.
the only actual 12 days I knew about were the 12 days of holiday specials on ABC.
Yeah.
That's my 12 days.
That was the best, honestly.
Right? Snoopy all day.
Mm-hmm.
All day, all day, all day. But no, there's an actual 12 days of Christmas, and it starts... the ironic thing is January 6th, which is King's Day, is the 13th day. But this is still part of the system as far as I could find. But it starts on Christmas, and Christmas marks the birth of Christ. And then 3 days later on the 28th, marks Day of the Innocents. And then, I'm terrible at math, 9 days after that is Three Kings Day. So those are the major three, as far as I could tell, in Mexican culture. To be honest, it was incredibly hard to find any information on the other
days.
What's 10 minus 3? 7. I couldn't find anything on the other 7 days, because these are supposed to be the most important ones.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the other days are called. I only know the Day of Christ, the Day of the Innocents, and the Day of the King.
Yeah, I think I used to know more when I was younger. Or not know more, but just like be in it.
Right. Well, because your father was Catholic, right?
Yeah, my parents are both Catholic, but my dad was like hyper Catholic. Like that's what we do for our birthdays, kind of thing. Apparently, I'm one of the younger ones in my family, so I didn't experience the super Catholicism. But yeah, we'd do stuff like that, and we'd go to like the events or like, and that's what the rosca, the bread.
Yeah. So I'll give a little bit of from what I can observe. Three Kings Day celebrates the moment that the three kings arrived to see the baby Jesus, something like that. It took them, what's the math in that? 12 days to get there. And part of the celebration is early morning mass. Every single one of these starts with early morning mass.
Oh yeah.
And then you meet and someone bakes. It's a complicated tradition because it's all based on who finds something in the bread the previous year, but whoever found it the previous year bakes the king's bread.
Yeah.
And in the bread there's a hidden doll. And that tradition has evolved.
Baby.
It's a hidden baby, and it's representing the kings searching for Christ. And the sort of result changes, I feel like, based on the family.
Yeah.
Like everyone has their own tradition at this point. It's a little bit different. But the original tradition was, if you were the one to find the baby, it was your duty as the family member to host something on February 2nd. And I couldn't find the name of this day, but it's connected to King's Day. Essentially, it's just a large lunch.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the whole tamale thing originally started, was you make all the tamales for that day.
Oh,
and that's when like the whole family comes over and you host that. And then the following year you break I think, I could be wrong on this, but there's so many links. It was so hard like filtering all this information because it's all coming from like either British people or like third generations asking their great grandparents about this. So it's a lot of filtered information. But yeah, so whoever finds the baby bakes the bread the next year or something like that.
Yeah, and that bread's not easy to bake from what I remember.
From what I understand, though, it's like, and I said this the last time I was brought up, but I'll say it every time. It's like 10 times better. It's like king's cake, but it's not it's like fruit cake, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's how do you say it? Pan dulce.
Yeah.
Or pan dulce.
Yeah.
It's sweet bread. It's a very simple sweet bread. It's essentially like a large roll that has candied fruits and peppers baked into it, and like figs. It's like colored figs, I think.
Yeah.
And it's great. I don't know what Mexico does to candy their fruit, but it's better than any European candy fruit I've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
it's European fruits are flavorless. It's
I remember
weird.
not fully understanding the whole bread and the baby stuff because my cousins would make jokes about like if you get it, you're gonna get pregnant or like you're gonna have a baby.
Right.
So like of course those jokes would happen. So like I'd take it a little literally.
That reminds me. Sorry, because you were talking about how your family messes with you. Because I'm also on the younger side, so I'd be messed with a lot. Did I ever explain the Easter Bunny thing? Do you remember if I explained that on the show? So a while back, I told a story how my brothers convinced me that the Easter Bunny was going to steal my birthday. And
Steal your birthday?
And I couldn't remember why that became the lie until like, I want to say a couple weeks ago. And I don't remember if I brought it up on the show, but I finally remember why. So this didn't start on my birthday. This started like 6 months earlier on Easter, or 4 months earlier. I'm so bad at math. Oh, see, not all autistics know math. That's a huge thing when people find out. They just ask me if I'm like me. Like, can you do poker? I'm like, I mean, kinda. I don't count cards. How many toothpicks? I don't know. Pick those up. I also have OCD, dick. No, but so it started on Easter, and essentially, like, I didn't want to hang out with the other children. I think I got upset because I at that time was not good at finding the eggs. I got very good at it later on to the point where they didn't want me to play with the little kids because I had spoiled their fun. I was like Sherlock Holmes when it came to finding eggs. But at the beginning, I was bad at it, and I didn't like that I was bad at it. And so I had a tantrum, and I went inside. I wouldn't play with the other kids.
And then he developed the system.
And I think one of my parents was trying to get me to come out and play, and they're like, you have to find the eggs, you have to find the presents the Easter Bunny left for you. And I think one of my parents, to kind of like discipline me into playing, was like, if you don't participate, you don't get to have a birthday party this year, which was a weird threat because my birthday was 4 months away. Like I wasn't going to remember that. But one of my brothers hears, and so they without skipping a beat, they go, yeah, because the Easter Bunny will steal your birthday. Your birthday's in one of the eggs. You have to find it. He stole it, and he's gonna keep it from you. And I'm 7, so I believe them. And so that's why I'm so good at eggs.
Wow.
Every year I'm like, not today.
Imagine someone else found your birthday egg, and now they have 2 birthdays.
Son of a bitch.
That'd be so. That would be intense. If you want to see Easter egg hunts get more intense, you tell someone.
You tell that kid they're not gonna have a birthday. You're never gonna be older if you
no,
don't find these
not only
eggs.
that, you tell them you can get someone else's. You could have 2 birthdays in a year now. You could take someone else's birthday.
Kid fights.
I always wondered that about people born in December, especially like I think my stepsister is born like 4 days before Christmas.
My brother's 2 days after. One of my sisters 24 days before. 2 of my siblings are fraternal twins. They're 11 days before. We have a lot of December shit
What's
going on.
What's the math on that? I keep bringing up math today.
Basically, it's like
What's 12 minus 9?
3.
It's a lot of March. What happens in March?
March Madness.
Imagine. Just-
Spring break. No, that's April. March. What happens in March?
You have a new sibling. That's what happens, apparently.
I don't know. I don't know what it is about March.
Messiah's Day happens,
January,
apparently.
February, March.
The weather's slapping.
We're going to figure it out.
What happens
March
in March?
15th is going to be Messiah's Day, I'm telling you.
Is this some St. Patrick's Day celebrations going on? When is that St. Patrick's Day?
Maybe. I mean, that could be it.
Just get
Because I think St. Patrick's Day is observed by the
St.
Catholicism.
Patrick's always made me randy.
Caesar Chavez Day.
Caesar Chavez Day.
I like that we're just trying to figure out why.
Why they bang
The
so much on
origins
March?
of your siblings.
Oh well, do they have? What do you know when their anniversary is? Is their anniversary around that time?
That's a good question. I don't even know that.
Oh, okay. Let's
All right.
ring it.
Call him. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah. Hey, Mom.
Oh,
What gets you Randy?
I'd call her, but she's any questions I ask her about her life at all, she's just get real suspicious, like a real former illegal immigrant. Just any personal questions, like
Where'd you
who
grow up?
needs to know?
Right. Where'd you grow up? Somewhere, right?
Somewhere. Who are you talking to?
Ask you.
who's asking literally every time.
And then you find out you're part of a cloning project, and that's why there's so many of you.
Like, there's always, there's deviations,
From what I've understood, a birthday around Christmas is Merry Christmas, Happy Birthday, one gift.
It's pretty much.
Right? I feel like it depends on the availability of the family.
Yeah. And money. Because it's either one gift or like one better gift. Or you try to get two gifts, but sometimes it turns into two shittier gifts.
I feel like I had a friend who had a birthday. I could be making this up, and if I am, it's still a funny joke. But like a parent kind of leveraging a gift. Like, okay, you can either have a really good birthday present or a really good Christmas. Like, I'm getting you one thing. You can decide how important it is.
Yeah.
Hello. I just wanted to take a moment to shout out our sponsor, LegacyTeasAndSpices.com. It's a shop run by our mother, Angel Lamesqua, and it's a great source for teas, spices, and even sugars. We also just introduced a lot of great new flavors, including Frita Cola, Cafe con Leche, and Chicano Chai. So be sure to check those out and use coupon code UP20 on your next purchase to get 20% off. I do think it's kind of unfortunate that a lot of traditions have sort of not evolved to the point where they're kind of lost.
Yeah.
Like I don't think there's any problem with making it your own, but I feel like it's that thing where like one generation dragged their kids to it, so their kids like dragged their kids to it, but it was always that feeling of like it was something you were obligated to do. And so the more and more the kid didn't want to do it, the more when they got older, they weren't trying as hard to get their kid to do it.
Yeah, because I remember getting dragged to like strange people's houses I've never met and be like,
Right.
"Hey, it's happening! We're doing the bread stuff and we're talking about the Stations of the Cross and it's really sad."
Yeah, I remember.
Like, all right.
I remember one time I was at a family gathering, and I looked at someone I'd never seen before, and I was like, "Who is that person?" And my mom was like, "Oh, she's like my cousin's girlfriend's kid or something like that." And I'm like, "So we're not even related? Like, what am I doing here?"
I know, it's so funny to be like a kid and dragged along to things like that, and you're like, but they're not family. Like, yes, they are. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
And it's also a thing that there's like that dissonance, even when you're an adult, where it's like, it doesn't register to you that this whole group unit that you've recognized as your family grew up with their own version of that.
Yeah.
You know, like my cousin has another side to his family that I'm not related to.
Or like when you're a kid and you don't realize your teacher has a life outside of school.
Right? Or like you didn't realize your parents had friends. Literally, I found photos that
Some
have
parents
none
don't
of
have
my
friends.
Yeah, I found photos with none of my family in them, just complete strangers, and I'm like, "Mom, who are these people?" And she's like, "These are my friends. I've known these people. You've met them before." I'm like, "I don't remember any of this. What are friends to you?" It is hard to find, because the only other date that I could find any specific research on was Dia de los Santos, which is Day of the Innocents. And even that, the description was a little weird because it kind of almost exactly described, and I could be wrong, you can definitely correct me in the comments, but it sounded almost exactly like Day of the Dead. It was a similar thing. There was an early mass, of course, and then it said like the grandparents would dress up and they would go to the cemeteries, and it was not exactly the same as Day of the Dead, because Day of the Dead has the sugar skulls and the decorations, but they would bring flowers, and there would be a meal, but it would be for the family after they got home. And it was a day not only to honor past relatives that had passed away, but also it's intended to honor the children, according to the Bible, that were killed in the search for Jesus, which is kind of dark that that's the only other one they focus on.
Yeah.
It's like this day. That's a weird thing to me that those are the three markers.
Yeah.
It's like this day represents when he was born, and this day represents when the kings found him, and this day represents everyone that was murdered in the process.
Yeah. All of baby Jesus's homies.
Right. How do you celebrate? What do you put in the cake for that day?
Oh, a lot of red jelly.
It's like a toy tampon or something. What could have been? It's insane.
Yeah, I still remember getting dragged to like early masses and those events. Man, that's not a way to keep tradition alive. You're right. Like when you endure it as a kid, like what kid wants to wake up at 5 a.m. and go to church? That's the opposite of waking up early to go to Disneyland.
Right. It does make me curious what those other days are about, because there's a whole 12 of them.
Man.
And from what I can understand, they're not exactly the same as like European traditions. Like European traditions, I think only celebrate to the 25th. So they are 12 days starting on Christmas. How I understand it is in Mexico, it's 12 days after Christmas.
Yeah, Latinos always go harder in the paint when it comes to religion.
Yeah, and there's also, I couldn't find any specific days allotted to this, but according to my research, the actual celebrations and rituals start on the 12th. And they, essentially, it's all prep work for the coming days of Christmas. And then on the actual days, that's where they have the major gatherings and the major ceremonies. So that was interesting to learn.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like, man, if I can get more research, I need to ask my mom. I'm sure she knows a lot about this. And maybe next time I could do a quick correction or quick highlight on this, because I didn't do enough research or any. And my mom might know a lot of this still. Like she's like definitely a Catholic head, you know? That's still stupid.
You're like trying to think. She's like what do you call it? A Catholic. She's like really all over. For some reason, she just loves researching the Bible.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like a special interest of hers or something. What did she collect? Those necklaces? What are they called?
I can't tell if this is the bit or if you genuinely can't remember the word rosemary.
You know,
tell you
those plastic chains, those beads chains. You know that rappers have.
Oh, the rappers have.
Yeah, the rappers have.
Like
with the cross and the beads.
You're talking about rosemary.
Rosemary.
Or rosary.
Yeah.
Now I can't remember. It's infecting me.
Now I'm trolling you guys.
You had troll tone.
Right?
Not everything you were saying seemed like a legit question.
It was,
I went too far with it.
What was frustrating about that bit is through the process of that bit, I actually forgot the name.
I have the ability to make you dumber. No, she even made me like buy her. She'll like look this up on Amazon. When she found out I could just find stuff on Amazon easier for her,
Yeah.
she'd be like, look up these beads, look up the cross, because she started wanting to make rosaries for us.
Yeah, I've been trying to look. I remember last year when we tried to research it for Eastmo, I had like asked my grandparents and my parents, but even then on my mom's side, she celebrated a couple times when she was really little, but when she moved to the States, I think our family started what do you call it? Not celebrating, but we started going to Christian church.
Yes, exactly, which is a bit different.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a growing thing, because I've heard about Latinos and Catholicism and the deep connection.
Yes,
but everyone I've met in my upbringing has predominantly been Christian.
It's interesting because I've tried to. We're gonna deviate a bit, but it's kind of tied to all this. But I've noticed that because where I grew up, all Latinos were pretty much just Catholic. The only Latinos that I knew were Catholic, and it was a lot through the church, but family, right, was Catholic. Right. But I noticed, because I grew up in Monrovia, and then you get more in, like, El Monte, Monrovia, like, Latinos in this area, in San Gabriel Valley, I noticed a lot more Catholics. But the further east you go, I noticed Latinos east, like, as in, like, getting closer to, like, the Inland Empire, were, like, more Christian. And I remember like learning about that and running into it and be like confused. I didn't even know that was an option. Like, because that's just how I was raised.
Right.
That's my deal. My family's Christian, and it goes back like generations.
Yeah, and I think it's because these families are more established in America and assimilate differently and more. And it's like it's interesting to like notice and observe it, because I had a coworker who did it as an immigrant. Was Christian, and I remember like thinking like I don't want to like assume I knew his intentions, an old coworker, but it's just like, oh, this is how people survive. This is always what people do with religion.
Right.
Like it doesn't mean you don't believe stuff in it, or you don't agree with any of it. It's just it's interesting that this is a survival mechanism to assimilate and to choose a community.
Right. Well, speaking of assimilation, one thing that I've noticed, and I may be wrong in my assessment,
Yeah.
but it feels like the traditions still kind of are integrated. Like, I still, like, I feel like Latinos still celebrate certain things or do certain traditions, not because of its connection to Catholicism, but because of its connection to Mexico.
Yeah.
Like, excuse me, since your childhood, would you say you were more celebrating the Catholic religion or Christian religion
Catholic.
later on?
Just Catholic.
The whole time?
If we held on to anything.
Right. But you said you grew up Christian, right? Did you still do like Ash Wednesday or any of that?
No.
Well,
that's not a
do
Catholic
Christians
thing.
not do that?
No, Christians don't do that.
That's what I was gonna ask, because kids still did it at my school. Like,
Yeah.
I'd still see people
Because that's also like it's the interesting thing of like Catholicism in Mexico, at least from what I can speak, is it starts to blend into a cultural thing.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I still know Latinos that at least they wouldn't participate in like mass or go to Catholic church,
Yes.
but they would acknowledge there's still families that make king's bread,
yes.
and there's still families
But they're
that,
not necessarily very religious, and
That's-
they'll do that
yeah,
stuff.
that's
Yeah,
what-
exactly.
well, so what I'm saying, to bring it back towards what we were talking about today, this is Mexico's version of these things are just Christmas now.
Yeah.
Like they're not about Catholic or Christian.
Yeah.
This is just what Christmas is for us.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting.
Like even choosing the 24th, I still don't know the full reason for celebrating Christmas on the 24th, but that's what we do.
Right.
And that's just, we still do that. The tamales thing makes sense of why we do it that way.
Yeah. I mean, that's my theory.
Yeah, your theory.
But definitely
it's
correct me in the
something
comments.
Yeah, I know. Someone probably has an answer.
We'll do a whole bonus episode of you just correcting all this afterward.
But it's like I think you're kind of right of like I feel like there's, maybe I'm just speaking from my family's point of view, my extended family, is the religion isn't as strong, but people still go. Some of my cousins and some of my sisters still go.
Yeah.
But not nearly as much as when we used to. Like we used to go every week.
I
or
know
twice
that
a week.
I know that even though a lot of my family is Christian, I believe that whenever someone passed, it's always been I mean, I also can't, I'm a child, so I'm just going off of like my visual memory.
Yeah.
But I believe, because I remember whenever I was going to someone's like Christian church, it was never in the whole building with it was never in like a church.
No
it was,
steeples.
They would like find a space to rent out and call their like place of ceremony and gathering. And that was always the distinction for me, because whenever there was a funeral, and especially if the relative was Catholic, it was always, every funeral I went to was in a Catholic church.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's even a thing where it's like, even if they stop sort of participating, it's still ingrained in them to follow tradition.
Yeah.
So what did you find, Josh?
Stuff we've talked about. The holiday gets celebrated on January 6th. Baby Jesus baked into a cake.
Just thing.
In 2013, bakers in Mexico City made a mile-long Rosca de Reyes cake.
Oh,
that's wild.
I don't know how you do that.
I guess
how
you
do
just
bake a mile-long cake.
I guess you just have like an oven on a track, like
like a Domino's, like a pizza.
I've always been curious how they did it, because there's been like the world's biggest pizza, the world's biggest cookie, and they're like massive.
Damn, how many
When I
babies
was a
you got to put in
child-
that bread?
It's like a full size.
baby.
That'd be terrifying. You
When
reach in and
I
pull
was
out.
a child, I was a part of a thing for my Christian school where we made the world's largest banana split.
Really?
But it was just a bunch of separated containers of banana splits all put next to each other.
Huh.
So maybe they just baked a bunch of cakes and
Maybe.
just sat them next to each other and iced them all.
Because I've seen people like
Yeah.
legitimately, like I know the world's largest pizza just got high-powered heat lamps to bake
Really?
it.
Kids leave their shoes out for presents.
That's the thing I forgot. I knew I was forgetting something.
Do
So-
I remember
Like
that?
There is a children's tradition. Thank you for reminding us, Josh the American, involved with Raise King's Day, where the night before on January 5th, children will leave their shoes out, similar to stockings, and in the morning there'll be gifts that have been left by the three kings. And they're like trinkets, they're little dolls, they're candies. It's smaller, it's like a stocking. And then bad children are left with rocks, and that's one of the things that led to the whole rock in the shoe thing. That's why someone would be upset is they got rocks in their shoes.
Oh shit.
I always thought that was funny. I might have made the joke already. I think this is funny because the insurrection
Yes.
happened on January 6th.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, there has to be like one like biracial. No, biracial is not the term we use. What is it again?
I call them multiculties.
Multiculties. That's like offensive and cute. Biracial, right?
Because the reason that's funny to me is because there's a large group of conservative Latinos in America. And I just am imagining like 1 3rd generation, like adult, like his kid they still celebrate King's Day. And so his kid's excited. He gets up, he runs down the stairs, he looks in his shoes and there's nothing and he's confused. And then he looks up and instead of seeing a father willing to explain all that, he sees like a grown man painting blue on his face and wearing a Viking helmet, just going America.
America.
Instead of candy in his stocking, he gets onions to pretend that he was maced in the face. That was it. I don't know if did that joke resonate. That's the thing you do
With onions?
All right, I gotta explain. Damn it. So, to make it look like your eyes have teared for mace, what some people would do, and there was a whole cut that last 5 seconds out. That was all gibberish. So there was a thing that spread on the internet after the riots. There was a woman seen protesting, and there was videos of her crying because she said that she got maced as soon as they approached the building.
Oh.
But later on in the day, they found pictures from earlier in the day of her carrying a towel with an onion in it. And the reason that those two connected is because if you rub onions on your face, you can cause swelling and it'll look like you got maced in the face.
Wow, people are really bad at hiding their duplicitousness.
Right? So now that you have that information, the joke makes sense. Right?
Yeah.
It's a bad joke. All right.
It's just that he was getting ready to defend America, and then he was also
Breaking into the
he was
Capitol.
putting onion. He had his onion ready.
I heard that dude was actually like an aspiring actor. It was so weird. Like,
Crisis
people
actor.
went home that day and thought nothing would happen. And then even
Nice.
today, you're finding out about people being investigated for being involved. And it's like, what? I didn't, but we weren't. It wasn't that bad, was it? It's like it doesn't resonate to them that they broke into the Capitol building.
Yeah.
It's bonkers. But that's not how you end this episode.
How do we end it?
That building belongs to us. No.
And that's how you end the episode.
They were just really hardcore looking for the rosca.
Where's the baby?
We know you have it, Nancy.
That's so funny.
That joke could get dark.
Yeah.
I just got it. Gross. Well, that's as much as we could find on Three Kings Day. A lot of it, was good information. A lot of it's stuff we hadn't learned before.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know about February 2nd. I still have to learn what that day is called. But it was just fun. If you guys know more about these days or about the other 7 that we couldn't find information on, let us know and we'll do a part 2.
That's what's up.
We'll do a whole episode. We can call it Ricky's Redactions, where we just fix all of these mistakes.
Yeah, Rosca Redux.
Dia de la Candelaria?
That's too long to remember.
February 2nd, Feast of the Purification of the Blessed Virgin.
That's even, it's longer in English, and that's a rare thing for Spanish translation. But thank you, now I know.
Presentation of the Lord.
That's better.
And here we have, on slide 2, we have the Lord levitating into the sky.
And in English, we call it Candlemas.
Oh. Well, that was a lot of fun. We learned a lot of new stuff today, and we hope that you enjoyed it. If you've made it this far, first of all, you're my hero. And leave us a comment telling us what some of your traditions are that you think stem from what we talked about today. I've been Rian Reyes. This has been Ricky. And that's Josh the American. You can't see him, but he's there, like Santa. And from us at Un Poquito. Jesus. I'm sorry. From us at Un Poquito, don't fly.
Oh.